tuning in, to all of you out there watching on YouTube, or maybe you're watching this after we've recorded it. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Geoff.
I'm Aaron.
We're the Aaron and Geoff team at Compass, your Bronx residential real estate experts.
That's right.
We're here with a little bit of a different topic than we've been doing recently. We've been frequently doing seminars on, buying real estate, selling real estate, and then again about buying, and then again about selling. And while obviously that's the main aspects that we deal with on a day-to-day transaction, there's a lot more than just the actual process that we deal with when we're dealing with a real estate transaction. I mean, a big portion of our job as agents is to help our clients manage the stress of that transaction and do everything we can to mitigate those kinds of intrinsic challenges that come up when you're going through a life-changing event.
But there's also only so much we can do to help out. Oh, Margaret's here.
Yay!
Great. Yay! Okay, great. Anyway, so there's only so much we can do to help out your stress and anxiety levels through just normal processes. So it's good to have a kind of toolkit for when you're going through a big life transition, like moving or selling your home of 30 years or anything like that. So we wanted to do this panel, and we have 3 great panelists that we've known for a long time that we're really excited to have join us. Do you want to introduce?
Yeah, so first up, we're going to introduce the wonderful Claire Rifkin, who is here with us. Claire, if you want to just kind of give a quick intro on who you are, what you do, and then we'll move forward from there.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Claire. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist. I have a private practice where I work one-on-one with individuals to help them make realistic nutrition changes so that way they can stay healthy and eat well for the rest of their lives. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Next up, we have Jason Rodriguez with Fitness Journeys.
Yeah, I help clients grow stronger, healthier, and more productive through the power of exercise. And I train predominantly in Manhattan, but I also train via Zoom.
And we have Margaret Enloe, who is a professional certified coach.
Exactly. And that's exactly right. So I work with, like Claire and Jason, one-on-one with individuals, but usually the issues have to do more with career, changing a career, or maybe it's getting promoted within a career, making transitions, could be transition to a new job, new career, or maybe into retirement or doing something after a long professional career. And my background is as a lawyer. I worked for over 25 years as a litigator, and I transitioned into coaching, where I feel I can still help people, but in a slightly less stressful environment. And so, as you said, yeah, I'm a professional certified coach, so that's who I am. Yeah.
We wanted to have you on, especially, Margaret, because so much of what we end up dealing with through a transaction is the kind of mindset that our clients have to work through. In any big life transition, be it a career change, retirement, what have you, there's a lot about mindset that kind of plays into what's going on. And maybe specifically for real estate, it's not just about getting comfortable with the idea of selling your childhood home or the home you raised your kids in, become, where you were an empty nester, now you're downsizing or something different. It can also be, just for the process itself of realizing that all your tchotchkes and things on the wall are not going to be the things that we want on the wall in order to sell. Taking a step back and realizing that while the home might be worth X to you, on the market it's only worth Y. There's a lot of emotion wrapped into it. So I wanted to have you on to talk about some of the things that you maybe coach your clients on when it comes to shifting mindsets from maybe where you feel stuck and parked to where you want to be.
Sure. It's really very individual thing in terms of where a client is and where they want to get or where they need to get. And you're right that they often have a mindset where they're stuck in something perhaps in the past. They value something that nobody else values. They have a lot of memories attached to maybe a home or a career or loved ones who used to live nearby. There are many, many different factors that can go into people's emotions about whether it's real estate, a job, career, their health. So in working with people, once I kind of understand where they are from a mental perspective, not so much a physical perspective, then it's talking to them, asking some good questions to help them think through things that before they might have just kind of kept in their mind and let it whirl around in there. But by asking questions and clients feeling that, one, they're supported, but they're also not being judged on what their answers are, they feel much more willing to, in a sense, open their kimono. And in opening their kimono and discussing things that are maybe difficult for them, stressful for them, overwhelming for them, then you have the ability in working with them in a partnership to shift that mindset to something that's more productive, something that's more easygoing, something that's got a little more flow around it than putting up barriers that otherwise a client might be experiencing. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Well, it sounds like a lot of that has to kind of come back to, the team building, right? And who you have behind you. And that's a big part of what we try to do in our business and practice as well. It's not just having us as your knowledge broker, the person you can trust, that you know that we have your best interest at heart, but having the team that's behind us further, like Jay, who we recommend frequently to do the attorney work on our transactions, or Melora, who's our go-to for lending. Or, take, for example, Roy, who we know if we have anything with title, he's the person to go to. When you have that strong team and that developed sense of trust, that's where I think shifting mindset can start to happen. And I also think, at least in our experience, sometimes clients can get stuck in the weeds around the specifics of the transaction, right? Sometimes it's not even about the sale, but oh my God, how do I handle the move? Where am I going to put the dog when the movers are coming? How do I get the car to wherever I'm going? How do I get the dog to wherever I'm going? Sometimes they get so mired in these kinds of logistical pieces of the puzzle that they lose track of the fact that there's a bigger change happening that requires a bit of shift in person and the shift in emotion, shift in the way you're perceiving the world.
Sure. And Geoff, real quick, you talk about this. And because I know people like Claire and Jason, am much more effective as a coach around, let's say, mental fitness. Because I know people like Claire and Jason, to whom I can recommend my clients. I can't solve all the issues that they might have. And so knowing people that have other expertise is extremely helpful to me and to my clients.
Absolutely.
So, Claire, I want to kind of talk to you first about moving, because I know you've moved cross country several times. How did you kind of deal with the stressors of all of that, and especially with nutrition, because I know that's your main focus?
Yeah. So, I mean, moving is a huge life event. And I mean, I have moved to a different state and I have moved across the country before. And then I've moved multiple times within New York. And the thing about nutrition is you want to do kind of like two things. Is one, you want to plan ahead, and then two, you want to make those plans as easy as humanly possible for yourself. So when I approach a big life event like moving, the first thing that I do is try to plan for that. So an applicable example, like let's say it's the first of the month and you know that you're going to be moving the first of the next month. Right now, even though it's like 3 weeks away, plan like 3 to 4 meals that you want to eat. Like do it now, even though it feels silly, but like you're not going to be stressed right now. So you can like actually think about what you want to eat. And so, okay, you have your meals, you've planned these 3 or 4 meals, and then how are you going to make that easy for yourself? One, pick meals that you like. So, this isn't a time to experiment or try something new or be fancy. We don't want any of that. Pick things that you like. And then also do things like order an Instacart delivery ahead of time and pick meals that you can make maybe like in a microwave or access like frozen foods or more shelf stable foods. And so having that planned ahead of time and then having nutrition being easy to execute have been 2 behaviors that I have relied on my whole life, but now especially as a dietitian, I really rely on them and I talk with my clients about them a lot. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, that is one of the ways that I navigated all of my moves.
Yeah, I think that the planning ahead thing is huge, especially as you're, it's so many moving pieces to deal with a move. Most likely you're going to be chatting with our friend Larry, who's going to be helping you with the moving trucks and helping get your stuff in and out. And to be thinking about, which of the non-perishables and perishables I'm taking with me versus knowing like, okay, I have this much rice left and I'm going to eat all this rice so I don't have to carry that bag out of the apartment, Are there foods that you think people should avoid when they're moving? Are there foods that make people feel more inclined to be stressed out?
Yeah, what's the relationship between like food and the way we feel?
Yes. Okay. So the gut brain connection is actually like a totally real thing, which I think is like what you're referring to. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the kind of the connection between our stomach and our brain. So in the research, it's called the gut brain axis, and it is very true that if you eat healthy, and when I say eat healthy, I mean like we're getting our fiber in every day, we're reaching for fruits and vegetables, we're getting our sources of omega-3s, that you will have a easier time with emotional well-being, with being able to regulate your mood, being just have an overall increased mental clarity. On the flip side of that, we also know that if you eat a lot of refined sugars or processed foods, so think like cakes, cookies, fast food, like really simple sugar things like hamburger buns and milkshakes, or like things that you would maybe get at a fast food restaurant.
I knew she was going to come for my ice cream. I saw it. I knew she was
I'm
coming
not
for
going
mine.
to come for your ice cream. I mean, there is something to be said about eating like a comfort food too. Like food is more than fuel. But we do know that eating a lot of those foods can do the inverse of that, right? Make us have less mood regulation throughout the day, make us more irritable, have, less mental clarity. And so when you're going through like a really big move, I always encourage my clients to try to plan ahead some more nutrient dense meals, some more nourishing meals. And also, like, it's okay if you eat the ice cream, if you eat the comfort food, like you're going through a really stressful time, it will all like work itself out.
Yeah, and I think that as far as making sure you're getting that nutrition, right? Generally going through the process of a move, it's physical, right? There's a physical aspect, there's a emotional kind of labor involved, and if you're not putting in the calories to kind of keep your body and your brain working, you're expending most likely more than you are during a more calm period of your life. So I guess it's that, put quality in, you get quality out.
Yeah. I mean, our brain needs at minimum 25 grams of glucose just to function. And 25 grams of glucose, like, maybe isn't a lot, but like, you still need to eat. And that's just baseline. So, like, you still need more on top of that.
Right. And just reconfirming, coffee's not food?
Coffee is not food. No, coffee is not a meal.
Oh, oh.
We'll work on that one.
Okay. Then I'll have something to eat after this.
So we're going to shift gears a little bit away from the what we put in and talk about how we use our body a little bit.
Yeah, Jason, what's kind of the relationship between our bodies and stress and anxiety in terms of physical fitness?
Yeah, I think Margaret was touching on something that was very relevant, and where we are creatures of emotion, not intellect, right? So if we feel like something's pleasurable, we'll do it, right? If we see something as painful, we might not do it. And the thing about our bodies and stress is we actually need stress. It's a survival thing, right? We need stress. And the thing is, a million years ago, if we left our cave, we might get eaten by a dinosaur, right? So that's very real stress, right? And as we evolve over time, our stresses change. And I think the thing we need to remember is our home is this. This is our first home, right? So we have our body, which is our home, which we need to take care of. And then, of course, we want to live in a nice home. And that's when we have to find people like you guys, Aaron and Geoff, and like Larry, the mover. And we need to find people we truly trust so our move can be a calm and kind of stress-free process. The thing we need to remember is throughout the moving process, or throughout any process for that matter, is to take care of our health, take care of this house, take care of our bodies. And exercise is like nature's Prozac. So after a workout, we're going to feel better. We're going to be calmer. It's like the free drug that everybody should be taking, because after, and it doesn't have to be an hour-long thing, right? I think, people might say, oh, I'm moving. I don't have time, right? I don't have time.
Yeah.
Common excuse for not exercising. But when we prioritize this home, right? When we prioritize our body and movement, we get our adrenaline, we get our endorphins, we're going to feel better, we're going to show up for ourselves, show up for our families better, and we're going to have an easier move because of it, and I'm talking about, it doesn't necessarily have to be an hour, it could be 10 minutes, but we need to be mindful of movement is going to just make us healthier, make us feel better.
And what kind of movement should we prioritize during that time? If we don't have that much time, if we only have 10 minutes,
we're feeling very stressed,
or if we're really stressed, right now, right in this minute, what should I?
Yeah, I'm a fan of compound movements. So squats and push-ups are amazing. I think my dad is now 81 years old, and he calls squats deep knee bends. But that's basically all he does is, his deep knee bends and his push-ups. And you find a couple of exercises that work for you, that get your blood pumping, that get your heart rate up a little bit, and those endorphins and adrenaline are going to start flowing through your body. You're going to feel a little bit better, and everything's going to be a little bit easier. You just a quick workout, you're going to feel better.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, coming out of COVID, one of the things that we did to kind of help our mood was we got a dog, because I have no option. We have to walk her at least twice a day. So getting up, getting out, getting my body moving in the morning, or sometimes Aaron takes the first walk and I do the last. It all depends, but getting that.
Or sometimes I do all the walks.
Yeah, it's true.
Or you guys could walk the dog together.
We could.
Right?
We could.
But just getting that movement, getting that fresh air, I think is sometimes really calming and really energizing in a way that kind of goes to your point, that just basic movement, something small even, right? If you're feeling super stressed, maybe just bust out 10 jumping jacks real quick, and it might relieve some of that feeling.
I think another thing is, there's different types of stress. So there's distress, right? Which is not good, which is actually tightens up our fascia, can make us sick, raises our cortisol levels, right? Distress. And then there's eustress, right? So that's the good stress. So like Michael Jordan at the end of the game, or Kobe Bryant, that's eustress, the good stress. They actually get excited about there being 10 seconds left in the game, and they're going to get the ball and have to take the last shot, right? You can perceive moving as, oh my God, this is so stressful, this is a horrible thing. Or you can get excited about it. You're like, I have Aaron and Geoff taking care of me. This is so great. I'm going to move into my dream home, and everything's going to be amazing and it's exciting. And then you still have that stress, but it's eustress as opposed to distress.
Yeah. Margaret, how can we kind of intercept our negative thoughts that we have during stressful periods like this and kind of turn them into more positive thoughts? What do
More
we do?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of that comes from self-awareness, Aaron.
Yeah.
When you're just feeling stressed, and hopefully Claire and Jason, you would agree with this. If you're feeling stressed about something and you don't take a moment and acknowledge it or recognize, oh, this is what's happening to me, you just keep on going and you feel the distress that Jason was talking about. You need to have a moment to recognize this is causing you, something is causing you stress. And you can say in that moment, okay, that is, you can name it. Name it. Maybe you name it Frank for a fear of the unknown. And Frank is just on my nerves right now. I got to get rid of Frank. But it's that, as I say, recognizing it, putting a name to it can often be very helpful. And then pushing it away and saying, Frank, I really don't need you around right now. I got enough things to deal with. So that's one thing that I encourage people to do. But my saying it, recognizing it, being sufficiently self-aware that you perceive what is going on, and that doesn't come easily to everybody. So something that can help clients is just say, okay, this is going to be a difficult time. Perhaps it's going to create some stress. It'd be good when you felt that. It may be around the move. It may be getting packed. It may be because you're worried about finances. Lots of things. Recognize that you're feeling that way and stop and pause for 10 seconds. And what's often very helpful is doing something that's tactile. Maybe it's taking in some breaths, that's breathing, 3 deep breaths. Maybe it's feeling your feet on the floor. Maybe in the PQ, positive intelligence world that I've worked in, people will say, just take 2 fingertips and rub them very closely together. You're doing something that doesn't advance the ball so much, but it requires you to get out of that mind frame of the head is just spinning around with difficult ideas and you're not doing anything to advance them. So just doing some 10 seconds of I would call it, mindfulness meditation in a sense, but you can strip that away and just say, tactically, I'm going to pay attention to the smell. I'm going to pay attention to the noises around me. You get the point. And then you're in a position to say, okay, maybe I just can calm down a little bit because I see this is what's going on. What would be a more beneficial, more useful, more positive way of dealing with this stress? And people may not immediately come to that. Again, in the PQ world, we talk about what is the gift and opportunity of a difficult situation. We all run into difficult situations. We gain too much weight. We have a bad diet and we know we want to get a better one. So the gift and opportunity might be you recognize it, and therefore the gift is, I think I better do something about this. I should hire the nutritionist. I should exercise. Maybe I should meet with a person about this, or somebody like Jason. You see, and so anyway, I'm not sure I answered your question. Hopefully, I did. But that's it. You stop, pause, self-awareness.
I think that was a great answer. Getting to a point of grounding, I think, is really essential when you're feeling like you're in a moment of distress and you're feeling like things are out of your control, which is usually, I think, one of the biggest stressors for our clients through the process, because a lot of this process can be we are just waiting for financing, waiting for a contract, waiting for attorneys, waiting for title,
waiting for a co-op board,
so
review.
And it's that fear of unknown, that need for patience, and sometimes we don't have as much patience as we'd like to have. I also think that something that is really essential in managing stress, and something that we kind of try to provide as what we do, is accountability, right? Because as part of your process, there's a lot that's going to be going on. It's going to feel like you're juggling a lot of different things. So having a team behind you that can hold you accountable. Hey, we want to get the board package in by the end of this week. If we don't
Yeah.
have X, Y, and Z signed, we're standing in our own way, right? Let's take a moment, let's get grounded, let's put a list together of what we have to accomplish, and let's accomplish it. And I think that that's what all of you kind of bring to the table in your own unique ways, right? Be it Claire, who's going to meet with you and help you put a diet plan together to make sure you're getting the right kind of nutrition for your body, and then you're going to help hold us accountable to that diet. In the same way that with Jason, I am really much less likely to not exercise if I have a scheduled appointment with you on Tuesday and Thursday, right? If I have that appointment and I'm meeting with you, you're going to tell me what to do and I got to do it. It's that accountability. And I would assume that the same thing goes in your practice, Margaret, where when you deal with and meet with your clients on a regular basis, you're going to check in that following meeting and say, hey, we had talked about this. Did we execute on that? What was the challenge? What was the growth? What do we need to address? How do we figure out how to move it forward? And I
Sure.
think that's a kind of common ground that we're all here is we're here to help all of our clients manage their stress, hold them accountable to what their goals are, and guide them to that end goal.
Right.
Yeah, I love that that point Margaret was making. I had the pleasure of taking her PQ class, and the matter of grounding, she talked about rubbing two fingers together, and that for me, I still use it. And that's the first step in just being like, if something's very stressful, okay, where am I? And it might seem so silly, like rubbing two fingers together, but I did her class and now I understand the benefit of it. And for me, I start with that and it brings me home and it helps me ground myself. And then I'll do like a meditation. I might take my right hand and put it on my heart, feel my heartbeat, and my other hand on my stomach and feel my diaphragm rise and fall. And now I'm aware that whatever's going on outside, whatever the money is, whatever documents may or may not be in, I'm here and my heart is beating, I'm breathing, I'm healthy, everything's okay. And then it kind of calms me and then I can move forward with whatever it is I need to do.
Yeah. That's so true. I'm gonna try that now. But it makes sense. Like I'm doing it right now, and it feels like I'm I don't know,
Present,
I guess.
Yeah.
It's just like touching the ground, touching grass.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you, Jason, have any experiences through a move that you've gone through that might be, how you manage stress through a transition like that, especially because moves can be so physical, right? I mean, we're talking about the emotional side of it, but let's be honest, especially, people of all ages have to move all their stuff, and you might hire Larry to come and do it for you, but there's going to be some amount of taking the books off the bookshelf and putting them in boxes before Larry comes. So
Yeah.
what kind of...
Absolutely. And, I think, the age-old thing, like lift with your legs, right? It is absolutely true. And don't try to do everything all at once, right? So, like, I feel like especially men will be like, I'm going to stack 10 boxes on top and I'm just going to make one trip to the car or truck, right? And then go like this. No, take a smaller box that you can manage, right? And move it, lift with your legs, right? Don't hunch over with your back. Do these things. And besides that, hire Larry. Seriously. Hire Larry. I am,
Agreed.
A fitness professional and I have experience in moving. I also have a very bad experience. I fell down some stairs moving and I broke my wrist. So,
damn.
So that was
the reason they're professionals, right?
I need my physical body to make a living, right? I do boxing and I work out with people and everything. So that was very stressful. So, lift intelligently, lift with your legs, lift things that you can manage, that you can manage. And if at all possible, hire a mover. There's nothing wrong with that. And Larry's the best. So.
Yeah, I think everyone over the age of 21 should hire a mover.
Right.
We moved into this apartment ourselves, and I said we are never doing this ourselves again.
We were 21.
And we haven't moved since. This
Geoff and Aaron, can I interject one thought? I am
Yeah.
please.
the apartment that I live in now. I remember my husband's flew up from my husband's his father was very good at making people think. We were very to have his help doing whatever needed, things that needed doing to get us ready to move out of our older apartment. So it's happy to friends and family that are willing and able. Steve's mother held the baby, and so those are big things that can make you feel a little more. I can breathe a little bit. I can do this move. I've got some help. So let's talk about the team. Your team can be quite big.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think,
it takes a village. And here's our biggest team member anyway.
Yeah, and I think if you have a dog or a pet, that's the biggest source of stress relief. Puppy cuddles.
I want to thank you guys again for joining us and giving us this great insight tonight.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing your expertise and your thoughts with us. I want to give you one more chance to kind of tell people who are watching who you are, what you do, maybe where they can find you on social media, if that's the kind of thing you're into.
Or your website, whatever.
Yeah, whatever is good for you. So we'll start with Jason.
Yeah, like I said before, I train people virtually and in person. You can find me at fitnessjourneysnyc.com or just email me actually at fitnessjourneysnyc@gmail.com. And you'll see me occasionally on Instagram, not that much, but I'm under Fit J Rod. And thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, and be on Instagram a little more frequently because I love your videos. How about you, Margaret?
Certified coach. Now, people throw footballs or play, but helping them with or they're going through. It could be somebody going through the transition of one house to another. I've never done that, but that's so stressful. It's just coach. But anyways, it's helping people one-on-one and deal with issues that on their own they're just having some trouble getting beyond. My website, Margaret Enloe. I do a lot on LinkedIn under my Margaret Enloe, and that's probably the way to find.
Perfect.
Awesome.
And of course, if anybody has trouble finding any of our panelists, you can always reach out to us direct.
Yep.
Claire.
Yeah, so I'm Claire. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. I have a private practice where I work with individuals. It's all telehealth, so you get to work with me from your home, which I think a lot of people like. You can find me, my website is just clairifkinnutrition.com. My Instagram handle is Claire Rifkin Nutrition, and I am now on TikTok, which has been exciting. Also, Claire Rifkin Nutrition. So, yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yes, I think we all need a Gen Z assistant to get us on TikTok.
My Gen Z summer intern really helped me out, I gotta say.
You're officially cool now. You're having a brat summer.
Yeah, right? I'm trying.
All right, guys. This has been awesome. I'm Aaron.
I'm Geoff.
And we are the Aaron and Geoff team at Compass, your Bronx residential real estate experts.
Thanks so much for joining us. And you can find us on Instagram at aaronandgeoff or our website, aaronandgeoff.com. And we hope we can be able to join you guys for more seminars soon.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Terrific. Thank you.